My pastor said something the other day while I was listening to a sermon, and I wanted to scream because I have been saying this for years to my friends and to anyone who will listen. This is what he said: nothing happens in your life that does not leave an imprint on your soul. Let's talk about that. My name is Fawn Peter. I'm a faith, mental health, and mindset coach, and on this channel, I help you grow spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. What does that statement mean? I've been telling my friends and anyone who will care to listen that we all need to heal. And that statement is the reason I keep saying that. You see, every experience in your life falls into one of three categories: positive, negative, or indifferent. No matter who you are, as a human being, we are a bundle of those experiences. I didn't say that is your identity. I am saying, however, that we are a bundle of all those experiences. Now, it is not the experiences that matter as much as it is how they impact you and what you do with that impact. As human beings, positive experiences are, well, positive. We love them. It's reinforcement. We stick to it. We keep on doing it. We repeat it. Whether or not that thing is actually a good thing, if it was a positive experience for us, it reinforces the need, the sensibility, the logic to keep doing that thing. Positive experiences make you feel good. Negative experiences obviously don't. Indifferent or neutral experiences are just there. It's up to you to decide what you do with it. Having established that, we understand that every single person has a negative experience, a positive and an indifferent one, even a baby. I recall seeing this video of a baby on social media, I don't know, recently, and the baby had like bruisings. Obviously, it wasn't a melanated baby, it was a Caucasian baby. So it had, and the baby had bruisings on his eyes, and people were like, what happened to the baby? And people who understood what had happened and maybe who had given birth or understood childbirth and all that were like, oh, the baby just had a tough time coming out of the womb. So it was a rough birth. And it just got me thinking, you haven't even been born yet, like the process of getting born, and that's already a negative experience. Every single person, no matter what age you are, has a positive, negative, and indifferent experience. We have positive experiences, yes, and they feel good, but negative experiences have a way of just taking you back, taking something from you, depleting you of something, affecting you negatively, scarring you, bringing toxic material, whether it be mental material, emotional material, physical material, whatever, into your life that impedes you, that maybe destabilizes you, that affects your growth, that affects your happiness, affects your joy, affects your experience of life in general. What does this mean? If you leave that thing there to continuously secrete those toxic materials and ingredients in whatever shape, form, or area of your life, you essentially are continually filling yourself up with those negative things and you may not even know. I think that's the scariest part. The fact that you may not even know that this is what you're doing to yourself or this is what this thing is doing to you. Apologies, I'm having a cold today, so I might seem, look, or sound off. And I would say this is the part that a lot of people take for granted. We either don't realize it enough or we realize it and it's too much work to be done. So we just like sweep it under the rug. I remember speaking with at least two of my friends talking about the need for healing. And it just always seemed like they were just so nonchalant about it. Like, you're struggling. There are things that you wish were better that bring you tears at night, that bother you, that they're not just a passive problem. They, are problems in big ways in your life, at least in this present season. And I am telling you that there is a need to heal. And it's like, it's like, I don't want to think about it. It's too stressful or something. Or some people don't even realize that there's a need for it because they're so used to the negative, toxic, wrong status quo that they are living. Nothing happens in your life that does not leave an imprint on your soul. Your soul is the seat of your mind, your will, and your emotions. This is where you make decisions, how you think, feel, see, and decide. That is the seat that predominantly leads your life. As a Christian, you need to take your soul, your body, your flesh, and make it subject to your spirit. Your spirit is whole and healed. Obviously, as a Christian, once you receive Christ, you are whole, you are healed. Now you need to do the work to let your spirit translate that wholeness, that healing, that completeness into your soul. And then your soul, your body or flesh becomes subject and subservient and slave to the spirit, which is the healthy part of you. But when you don't realize the fact that every experience that you have had has left an imprint, including negative emotions, negative experiences, even indifferent ones, or you realize it and you're not wanting to do anything of it. Like you're just like, well, I didn't keep this healing talk for another day. You're just going to continue in cycles and patterns and keep praying and hoping and crying and, feeling like a victim or being a victim or whatever the case may be and hoping that things are going to just magically change. They're not. And on another level, there's a lot of people that just feel like this healing thing people keep talking about, please let you give it a rest. It is important, especially if you want to go ahead to become a parent. Okay, maybe that is a little bit too selfless. Let's be selfish for a moment if you want to live a wonderful life. But you see, the problem is a lot of people like the lives that they're living because the negativity, the toxic behavior patterns and things in their life that are secreting toxic materials and affecting toxic ways, they don't know, or they're okay with it because they're so used to it and it's so normalized and commonplace in their immediate environment. And when you come from their perception of life, I feel like I'm getting too technical here. What I'm trying to say in this video is there is a need for everybody to heal. You don't have to have had the heartbreak where you wanted to commit suicide, met a narcissist and been abused, and or maybe SA'd, or you don't have to have had people who locked you in dungeon for 2 3 5 years of your life when you were a child. You don't have to have had a traumatic accident where you broke your limbs and you had to learn how to walk again. You don't have to have had all those crazy extreme things. Those things are significant, but we are talking about the extreme end. Simple little things leave imprints on your life. And if you're more aware of yourself, this is why we talk about awareness, not wokeness, awareness, self-awareness. If you're aware of yourself, you're able to pinpoint the places where you need to do the work and change it. Sometimes it might be something as simple as a lifestyle, a tradition in your home growing up as a child that was wrong that you didn't even know. Self-awareness, reparenting, unlearning and relearning brings you to the consciousness that this thing is probably not the best and I can do better. And then you set up to do better. Once you do that, you realize that the quality of your life is much better. A lot of us Christians complain with mental health issues, anxiety, depression, complain with lack, need. You're asking God, Lord, I'm tired of wanting a husband and not finding one. I'm tired of wanting a wife and not finding one. I'm tired of the job situation, whatever it is with you. I'm tired of my family, the situation, whatever it is. You're tired of one thing or the other, and it's causing you depression. And we're trying to tackle the depression, we're trying to tackle the symptom, we're not trying to tackle the root cause. But if you go down to the root cause, you realize that all of this is happening because of this particular thing that happened at some point in my life. If I heal from that, the symptom goes away. While I treat the symptom, I also need to put even more energy to treating the root cause. It's like addiction, whatever form of addiction it is. Something causes addiction. People don't just choose to get addicted for the fun of getting addicted, especially when it comes to things like sex, lust, when it comes to things like drug abuse, alcohol. A lot of people have a lack, have a void that they're trying to fill with whatever it is they get addicted to. And when you try to cure addiction, you keep going back to rehab, going back to the bottle, going back to women, going back to one thing or the other again and again, going back to men, whatever the case may be. But the moment that you sit down and ask yourself, why do I do this? What is it that I'm lacking? What is it that I'm needing? What is it that I'm trying to feel? What gap is it? What void is it that I'm trying to feel by this thing, this addiction I keep going back to? And you start working on that. Let's forget about the symptoms for a moment. You see, Jesus said, he who has come in Christ, I'm paraphrasing here, is now a new creature. The old one has passed away. And there's a part of the Bible, I can't remember it now, where it talks about how you're no longer a slave to sin. And even Paul also, I think in that same book, talks about how the things I want to do, I don't do. The things that I don't want to do, I don't do. Who can save me? Who is me? But this man, Jesus. I'm paraphrasing everything I'm saying, so it might not be written exactly in the Bible. But the point I'm trying to make is the Bible never says, I'm going to cure you of the specific tiny act of sin. Jesus says, I have taken away the nature of sin from you. You're no longer a slave to sin, which means you now have the capability, the wherewithal, the strength to turn away from the act of sin. This is what I'm saying. When you heal the nature, that's the root cause of whatever it is that is bothering you, which comes from something that happened in your life that left an imprint. When you find that, tackle and heal it, you no longer have to struggle to stop doing the little things that are the symptoms, whether it be addiction, depression, bad relationships, bad decisions, whatever the case may be. It is now easier for you to not do that thing. You are no longer a slave to that thing. It's one thing to do something, it's another thing to be a slave to something. I may make a wrong decision tomorrow when it comes to men, or when it comes to love, or when it comes to family, when it comes to whatever the case may be. But I am not a slave to that trait anymore, because now that part of me ceases to exist in my spirit. And as I do the work to translate that to my soul man, I am able to now say, no, I'm not going to do that this time. That is part of healing. The point I'm trying to make here is just like my pastor said, nothing happens in your life that doesn't leave an imprint on your life. And it's high time you realize that. It's high time you notice that. It's high time you know that. And it's high time you take the mantle for your life. It's high time you look at the bad or toxic or unhealthy traits, behaviors, and things in your life that you want to change and trace it back down to the roots of whatever it is that happened. Sometimes it may not be something that happened, it may be something that you believed. Remember how I said there are indifferent things that happen in your life? It might be indifferent, so you don't know whether to make good or bad out of it, but you believe it. And it might be a negative thing that you believe, though you don't know it's a negative thing, and it starts to inform your life. But the point here is trace whatever it is you want to change in your life all the way down back to where the root is, to what it came from, to where it started, to how and why you started to believe that, and tackle that. Because nothing really happens in your life, be it positive, be it negative, be it indifferent things, that doesn't leave an imprint. And let me even add, positive experiences can come from negative behavior. But that's a topic for another day, a whole different topic. I'm just going to say, though, that the fact that you had a positive experience out of something does not mean that that thing is good. There are people that have been in horrible situations, but maybe it was to their favor, or maybe they didn't know, or whatever the case may be. There are different things. They had this response to it that felt like somewhat of a good experience. And so they feel like, okay, that's the normal thing, that's healthy, and that's good. For example, I know a guy who was SA'd when he was a baby, but he said, I massively enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed it. So it was a positive experience for me. But that is a negative thing to do. And it led him into a life of addiction to sex. And he didn't even know that. Your experiences are important and they all leave an imprint on your soul. So it is important that you understand yourself. You are aware of yourself. That's what self awareness is for. And you are open. It's not just about being aware of yourself, because I know people who are aware of what their issues are. But when I say heal, they're like, yeah. You are also willing to do the work to change your life around. Some things are not about prayer. I talk a lot about how faith and mental health, you know, can work pari passu. But some things are not about prayer. Some things are just about doing the work. Simple and short. Just sit down with yourself. Sit down with yourself and do the work and stop whining about it. And then you whine about it, and then someone tells you what the solution could be or what the work is to be done, and you're like, eh, you know what? Yeah. And then go back to whining about it. We need to put a stop to that. Okay, we need to put a stop to that. And this isn't just for Christians. Everyone needs to start doing the work to change their lives. I hope this blessed you. If it did, let me know in the comment. If you know someone who needs this, share it to them. And don't forget to like and to subscribe for more videos. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.